Fearscape Media Network, exploring the unknown, one podcast at a time.
Hi, friends. This is Kelly with Wishful Drinking and Binge Thinking, the podcast where I get just absolutely hammered and I dole out psychological advice. That's right, I am going to be more drunk than that girl you met in the bar bathroom after your karaoke set who said, "You have such good stage presence. Oh my god." That's right, zero preparation, multiple drinks, countless profound gems. Tune in the last Monday of every month on Fearscape Media Network.
Ghosts in the Attics, Bodies in the Basements may contain graphic, violent, vulgar, or explicit content not suitable for all listeners. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello, listeners. Welcome back to Ghosts in the Attics, Bodies in the Basement. I'm your host, Anna.
And I'm Lindsey, and we are here with some very special guests today.
I mean, I wouldn't say they're guests. I would say that they're our friends at this point. At least I hope. But they're guests to all of you, and maybe if you think they're cool like we do, you can go and become their friends via like how everyone feels when you listen to a podcast. You instantly feel like you know the people. So without further ado, how would you like to start? Would you guys like to introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about your podcast?
Yeah, that seems like a good a place to start as any. I'm Abbie.
And I'm Kelsey, and we're from Fairy Tale Fix. It is a what the fuck fairy tale podcast where we basically just tell each other really wild fairy tales. They are not the Disneyfied versions. They are just the, Grimm and Hans Christian Andersen and Charles Perrault and just all the, I guess not original fairy tales, because technically there are no original fairy tales.
Yes.
Right.
But they're wild and they are so much fun to tell each other.
Yeah, we like to cover sort of ones that might not have been like super popular, stories that people may not have known, and then also stories that are super, super well known as well. And we fix them for a modern retelling because a lot of them are very problematic.
We usually fix them and very often make them worse.
Worse for the characters in the story, but a better story overall, in my opinion.
I feel like I listened to nothing when I first started, but what was it? It started out with My Favorite Murder because a friend told me I must. And so I listened, fell in love,
Sure.
and it spiraled into nothing but true crime. And then I found Two Girls, One Ghost, and I was like, hey-oh, paranormal, I'm here for it. Then I found And This Is Why We Drink, which is similar to what me and Lindsey do, but like way better probably in some people's opinions. And like they cover paranormal and they cover true crime. So I was like, wow, that's so cool. You can do both. I didn't know that was possible. And then I was looking at all the top rated new podcasts one day, and I found you guys like, I think a month after you launched, and I was just hooked. And when I say I'm a super fan, I've listened to them from start to finish more times than I can count. For one, you have very soothing voices, so whenever I'm trying to like relax, but I want like, because I have ADD, I can't like just, my brain has to have something to focus on. So silence is the worst. So I like to listen to people that are soothing, but also fucking hilarious, and you guys fit the bill, and my husband loves you guys, so that's rare because he
you.
doesn't listen to podcasts. He just reads news articles.
Ew.
I know, right?
He needs to develop some better entertainment.
Right. Oh, he secretly likes TikTok, and he will not admit it. And I'm like listening, and I've heard this TikTok before, and I'm like, "Oh, you're on TikTok?" He's like, "No, I'm on Facebook." I was
No.
No.
It- yeah, and I was like, "But it's a TikTok." He goes, "But it's on Facebook." I go, "Sir, that it's the same
Yeah.
thing."
It has a little TikTok thing in the corner of the video.
It's
Yeah.
from TikTok. Also, Facebook is it's not better. You're not flexing.
No.
Oh,
No,
right.
you know, it's not. We're showing our age with Facebook, I swear. But it's one of
Yeah.
those
That's on
things like,
Reddit. No.
No, see, Reddit is still cool. Reddit is still like the
That's
hipster
what I'm saying. That would be
go-to.
the flex. I'm on
Oh,
Reddit.
no. Reddit's a
Uh-huh.
flex. Reddit's
Yeah.
a flex. Facebook is like where I hang out. I check it every once in a while to keep up with like my boomer family members.
Right.
I have to use it for work a lot, which I mean is whatever. But did you guys? I don't know if you know. Now you can listen to your. You just put in your RSS feed or whatever to Facebook, and you can platform
You listen to
on
the
there as
podcast
well.
right there on Facebook.
That's horrifying. I didn't know that. Did you know that,
Wow.
Kelsey?
No, I
It-
did not.
We
It has-
got a notification from Facebook one day that was like, "Put your podcast here," and we were like,
Oh shit, we
Okay.
should probably
It-
do that.
It's actually really cool. We've gained like 3 countries since we've done that.
Oh, nice. That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean,
countries?
So,
I don't remember which ones were a direct result from Facebook, but we have quite a few. Our newest ones are Estonia, Turkey, and Ukraine.
Very fancy.
Yes.
Yeah.
International acclaim.
we have a lot of people listening all over the world, and I'm just like,
One of our top
How?
countries right now is Germany.
Interesting.
which
Nice.
I don't know anyone in Germany, so I'm really
either.
excited.
Hello, Germany.
Hello.
That's always the best feeling. I'm just like, ooh, I don't know anybody like in
who
this
are you?
country.
It's funny
Yeah.
about the Germany one because it shows us cities if enough people listen.
Mhm.
And we have Bavaria and Hamburg. So I'm like Bavarian cream and hamburgers.
Mm. That's
Sorry,
a good
Germany.
system for remembering it.
Yeah.
Well,
I like food.
I
Yeah,
want
same.
I want like Napa Valley from California to start listening, and maybe somebody sending us some free wine. Hey, Wink Wine Club, where you at?
I know, right? Been with you
Lindsay's-
since you were Club W.
Right.
I'm a long time. I'm loyal.
Well, she
I might
she all,
skip the boxes every month, but when I need wine, that's who
Oh
I go
god.
to.
well, like here's the deal. Lindsay knew I was coming, so she didn't skip the box. And then Lindsay forgot and got like 4 more boxes. So the next time I went to her house, there was a plethora of wine, and she goes,
Yes.
I go, "Did you go shopping just for me?" She goes, "Not
Forgot to skip the
intentionally."
I did
I'm
one
so
time
glad you're
forget-
here. I
did
need
one
help
time-
drinking it.
I
Sorry,
forgot
go
to
on.
skip the box. No, I'm sorry. I forgot to skip the box once, and the box came, and I can't remember. Because of course I get the email that's like it shipped, so I was like, oh fuck. But then I can't remember when exactly it was, but it was one of Taylor Swift's drops, and the box said "open for emergency wine." I was like, they have my back. They knew Taylor
They
Swift was dropping
absolutely
this, and I
knew.
was
They're
gonna
ready.
need the wine.
Oh, goodness. All right. Well, a little bit of housekeeping. We have a new merch shop. We talked about it in our last episode. With that being said, everything's in the show notes. It's in our link tree. It's all over our socials. Please go check it out. We are trying to get new, designs on there. I'm working tirelessly to try to learn how to use my damn iPad and Procreate. So there's that. Forgive me if it's not perfect. I'm not perfect. And I mean, if you want perfect stuff, we can ask Lindsay's sister to help us out again.
She made our logo.
She made our logo.
Watch
And
it.
it's
It's cute.
fantastic.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Very
Um,
talented.
She's so talented
Yeah.
in so many ways. It's sickening. Ugh. I wish I was as talented as Laura. Like so
Keep
talented.
practicing with Procreate. You'll get there.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to watch all the TikTok videos on how to do things because
Yeah.
Mhm.
that's where everything's
TikTok's
at.
where
I
it's at.
swear, TikTok's where it's at. Well, I'm so excited that you guys are here with us today. So tell us a little bit about how this is going to go. We know that you have a surprise for us. So what surprises do you have for us today?
Well, I am going to tell you about the people that inspired the story of Bluebeard.
Ooh.
So
Yes.
Bluebeard was actually the first fairy tale Abbie ever told me on Fairy Tale Fix. It's our very first episode, so you can actually listen to Abbie tell me this story on the first episode of Fairy Tale Fix. It's called Should Have Been a Pirate, because I listened to the story and 100% thought and believed with all my heart and soul that Bluebeard was a pirate. Like,
before I listened, I thought he was a pirate as well.
Really, that was like a Mandela effect, where there's just multiple people out there in the world that believe that.
Pirate, right?
Well, yeah, that's what I think I got it from. I think it was like,
Fair enough.
Blackbeard and Bluebeard are just different pirates.
I always thought that. I did.
I mean,
listen to me in the whole episode. Abbie's telling me this story, and at the very end, I'm like, oh, well, I got. So in our show, we do predictions about what the fairy tales are going to be about, and we get points. And I was like, oh, I got a point because he was a pirate. And Abbie's like, no. I was like, wait, you didn't. What?
He wasn't, but what was he going away for such long stretches of time?
Yeah.
But technically, we don't know what he was doing while he was gone.
I know, it doesn't say
he
he's
may have
not
been a pirate.
No, he wasn't a pirate.
Yeah, he's like a French nobleman.
Yeah, he was off doing French nobleman stuff. Although I guess technically there were French noblemen who were like privateers, which is just, if you're doing it for your country, you're a privateer, and if you're doing it if you're from a different country, you're a pirate. But it's the same. It's the same job.
Different name.
Okay.
So he could have been a privateer, I guess. I don't know.
I'm excited for this.
Yeah, I am too. So I was doing some research and I was just like, oh, I'm going to spill all of the 1400s tea. Because it is so juicy. So just a quick synopsis of Bluebeard. If you don't want to go listen to our episode and have Abbie tell me the amazing story, she does such a great job. I'll give a little quick synopsis of the fairy tale here. So it is the most famous version of Bluebeard is the French folktale written by Charles Perrault in 1697. And in the story, Bluebeard is a man of nobility who was so unlucky as to have a blue beard, which made him so frightfully ugly that all the women and girls ran away from him.
Ah, that blue beard. Truly a hideous feature.
A hipster before his time.
Yeah. A blue beard would be so epic today.
Yes.
Still,
I have seen it. It does look epic on many people.
I've seen it with glitter, actually.
Yes.
The little ornaments. No.
So, the fact that he'd also been married several times before and no one ever knew what became of those women was also a reason that people ran away from him and women weren't interested in him. But, don't focus on that part. It's definitely all about his ugly blue beard. So a young maiden is eventually swayed by his riches and life of partying, and I do not blame her one bit, and agrees to marry him. So flash forward, Bluebeard has to leave for some reason about affairs of a very great consequence. So again, perhaps pirating on the side, I feel like.
Maybe he was getting some booty. Ayo.
Absolutely.
Possible.
He was all about that booty. So in the fairy tale, before he leaves, he gives his wife all the keys to the house and, tells her she can go anywhere she'd like and do anything she pleases, except open this one closet. Do not go in this closet. There's this one key. It opens the closet, but don't go in there. And
just don't even mention the closet, and she never would have known.
Yeah, but that's not the point. It's to test her loyalty.
True.
And then be proven right that women are inherently untrustworthy and he should be allowed to murder them as much as he pleases.
Yeah.
Yep. It is a very common fairy tale trope that we see
confirmation bias.
And what happens in fairy tales is if you get specific instructions, You do not. You do the opposite. You don't
Always.
follow those directions at all.
Listen carefully and do the other thing.
Yeah.
Also, most people don't have names. I've learned listening to you guys. It's really interesting.
Yep. The
Bluebeard's
women
wife.
specifically never have names.
Like the
Yeah.
donkey will have a damn name, but the
Yeah.
woman won't.
But the woman won't. She doesn't need a
Sun, the
name.
dog,
She's
the
a woman.
witch. Oh no, not a witch. I guess they don't usually have names either.
No, not typically.
Just Baba Yaga.
Ugh,
Yeah.
The
But
best fairy tale
she's more of
witch.
an ancient forest deity witch
Yes,
thing.
True.
Like, anyway, I love
She's on a
Baba
whole
Yaga.
other level.
She's a whole other different thing.
So, what does the young maiden do? Of course, she opens the door and she finds the room, spoiler alert, covered in blood and littered with dead bodies of his previous wives.
Yes.
So, she drops the key and gets it stained with blood, but not to worry, Bluebeard's not going to notice, right? Wrong. He notices and he sentences her to death. He leaves her alone in a tower to say her prayers, and once alone, she cries to her sister, who actually does have a name in this story. It's Anne. Beautiful Anne.
Sweet Anne. Lovely Anne. Anne Perkins. A beautiful sunfish.
Oh, I love Parks and Rec.
And so she just happens to be in earshot of the young maiden, and they scream at each other for a bit, all while Bluebeard is wondering what the hell is taking his wife so long to come down to get slaughtered. Super weird, right?
She's
usually
taking her
quite
sweet
punctual.
time up there. It's
She took
almost
no
like she
time
doesn't-
getting in that closet.
Yeah. Well, as luck would have it, the young wife's brothers show up at the last minute and save the day and kill Bluebeard. Hurrah! And they all live happily ever after with all of Bluebeard's awesome stuff. So that was the very, very quick Kelsey Notes version. Light Dark Notes.
Great summary.
Was a great summary, yeah.
So there's also fairy tales like Fitcher's Bird. There are a couple of similar ones that are around the same kind of theme.
Yeah, I actually, there are ways in which I like Fletcher's Bird better. It's a very similar story in the sense that it's about a man who kills his wives, but in the Fletcher's Bird story, which I believe, Anna, you wanted to, that was one of the ones that you wanted to tell.
I
on the pod.
had highlighted that in my Grimm's fairy tale, and I was like, oh, and then you guys were going to cover it. I was like, okay, fair enough. So
Yeah,
we
I
had
think we'd
already
done
covered that
it.
one on a Patreon episode.
yeah,
So we would not have been able to make any
fairly
predictions.
predict. Yes,
And I'm so glad. By the way, I don't think we mentioned this on this episode, but Anna and Lindsey came on our show.
Yeah,
Yeah, we didn't even say that.
we didn't mention it at all. We should talk
So-
about that.
there's one of
Maybe.
those surprises I mentioned.
Yeah, Anna and Lindsay came on a recent episode of Fairy Tale Fix. It was our 35th episode, I believe. And that by the time this comes out will be up on our feed. That you can go listen
That one's
to.
called
dropped
Strong Chaos Baby.
Strong
Jan-
Chaos, baby.
January, was it 18th it comes out?
Yes. Yeah, I came
Yeah.
out on January 18th.
Yeah, because
What
it was
time you all
right
are hearing
before my
this, it's out.
birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was right before my birthday.
Yay,
So I
happy
mean, it's
birthday
like
episode.
a hell of a birthday episode. Like, oh, speaking of birthday episodes, what do you guys think of my Ted Bundy stuff?
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
weird. It's so weird that he died the day that I was born. Like he was executed, like the same day I was born. So weird. We talked about that
All
in
that
our
to
last
say, his
episode.
Bundy spirit now lives on in Anna. No, I'm just joking.
That
always-
makes me like Anna less. I'm not gonna lie.
We talk a lot on the podcast about how much we hate
Ted
Bundy.
Bundy sucks.
The
Yes.
worst. And
Oh,
I don't,
yeah.
I really don't. So I basically only listen to true crime paranormal podcasts. I don't actually listen to a lot of other fairy tale podcasts.
Well,
So
I mean, I feel that because you don't. I've quit listening to true crime stuff because I don't want to like.
oh yeah.
Accidentally
copy-
copy.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
get really, really paranoid. about
Although
that.
Abby is on another podcast as well. Would you like to drop that?
Oh, sure. I just didn't want to like overwhelm or be like,
Nah.
it's like, here, I'm going to go out about my podcast for 45 minutes. Yeah, real quick. I'm on another pair of podcasts. I'm on a sci-fi space opera, Firefly meets The Expanse meets Farscape
It's
sort
amazing.
sort of thing called Far Beyond the Stars. And then I'm also on another podcast that is a Baba Yaga inspired fairy tale audio drama.
Mhm.
Called
Hold on.
Fantastic
I had
Worlds
no idea about
Podcast.
that one. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to write that down. Baba Yaga all day.
Yep, it is a lot of fun. Both of these are actual play podcasts, so they are audio dramas told through the format of playing a tabletop role-playing game. So in this case,
nice.
we're playing Pathfinder for the Baba Yaga one and Starfinder for the space opera Far Beyond the Stars one. So
I just want to say I have played 2 tabletop RPGs in my whole life so
and you
far,
just
and
nailed it at both of
you
them.
do not have to understand the game to listen to the podcast or enjoy the story at all.
No, we edit out a lot of like the talking about the rules. You don't have to understand how the game is played
Yeah.
to appreciate the story. But
Okay.
it's largely improvised using the rules of these games as sort of like a framework.
Okay, because I was going to say, as a child, I really wanted to play Dungeons and Dragons with all the boys, and they're like, girls can't play it.
Gatekeeping bullshit.
Yeah, and then I just never got into it.
Well, that's a damn shame. I highly recommend. I had a similar experience growing up, and I got into them as an adult instead, and I highly recommend.
My sisters and some of our friends and stuff back home all do it, so I should get with them.
You should.
I've never
delightful
played
fun.
anything, but I'm not big on games because my brother was a sore sport and like ruined every game because he'd cry and throw tantrums.
Oh.
Love you, Neil. You still do it to this day, and you know it. Ask your
Mhm.
husband. But I digress. But when I was so mean when I was a child that I would passive aggressively when he'd piss me off, because I don't like believe in hitting people. So I would just rearrange his very meticulously organized Pokemon cards and just disarray the shit out of them.
That's the
And
perfect revenge.
He never knew who it was until like 15, 20 years later. And then I like slipped up.
Who else
Like,
would it be?
I don't know. And he was just like, you bitch. And I was like, yeah, well, I mean,
I mean,
it
it's kind of
worked.
on him for not realizing because you're his only sibling.
I know.
Well,
Well, until we got adopted. But yeah. It's just kind of funny. It's like,
The
how did
younger
you not
years,
figure it
only
out?
sibling.
Like, but that's the only game I played when I was a kid, just rearranging Neil's Pokemon cards.
so funny.
It's a fun game. Sounds like a good one.
Okay. So
Back to Bluebeard.
Bluebeard.
Back to
Sorry.
Bluebeard.
So back
right.
to people who suck.
Back to people who
Right.
blow. Go
Yeah,
on.
I was gonna say that I don't get the whole Ted Bundy, how people think he's so handsome. Because what?
Ugh.
I'm
We
sorry.
are big advocates of no.
That is
No. Even if he
absolutely,
wasn't a
like-
murderer, no.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, like,
but
yeah, exactly.
the fact that
I
he
don't get
is a
it.
murderer is
Makes it 10
extra.
times
It's
worse.
extra unsexy.
They're like,
Yeah.
he's so charming though. And I'm like, he
Yeah,
is.
It's called
he's
being
a
psychopath.
Are you sure?
Yeah, he's a narcissist. Of course he's charming.
Mhm.
Ugh. Anyway,
Kind of the whole stick.
so on the subject of people who just suck, it's possible that the story of Bluebeard was inspired by the first documented serial killer. That's obviously,
The first documented serial killer? Really?
arguably the first documented serial killer. because
Okay,
they
that's
have, like-
exciting.
Yeah, so I'll go into it a little bit. But his name is Gilles de Rais. He is a
Ooh.
French knight and lord from Brittany, Anjou, and Poitou. And I am not French, and I don't speak French, so I'm.
It
probably
sounded
gonna-
believable to me.
When
I
we
was
talked
like-
about
This
him
wrong.
on our Bluebeard episode, I called him Giles. So you're already like,
I did
so
look up how to
better.
say
It's
his
better.
name. Gilles de Rais.
Ooh.
It sounds legit.
So Ray was an accomplished soldier and fought alongside the likes of Joan of Arc, which is actually really interesting.
Oh,
But
yeah.
he led a secret life where he committed the act of more than 100 gruesome child murders. Trigger warning for child abuse. So just if you are triggered by things about child abuse, this person was really horrible and did absolutely horrible things. I'm not going to go into all of the really gruesome details. That stuff is on Wikipedia if you're more
But you
interested.
may want to fast forward through the next
But yeah,
couple minutes.
so just trigger warning on that.
Plug your ears and hum.
So he committed the act of more than 100 gruesome child murders, and this horrible act led him to becoming, arguably, the first documented serial killer. So, like many serial killers, Ray had a tragic early life, which I thought, I feel like every serial killer always says
I feel like that's always the thing. They either have a head injury, they were abused, neglected, something.
Yep.
We've
Tragic
always been very
backstory.
big advocates on this podcast of it's not an excuse to kill people.
No, a lot of people had really shitty childhoods,
And they didn't kill
don't
anybody.
turn into murderers.
Exactly.
But
The only
his
thing I
father-
murder is spiders.
Aw.
But Kelsey loves spiders,
I
and
love
she
spiders.
names them, and you'll have to go to her podcast to hear her spiders' names.
Yeah,
They
I have a
all
black
J-Lo,
widow
'cause that's
outside
me.
my house right now, and I call her Mama. Hey, Mama.
I'd be
She's
terrified.
outside the house, so she can stay there. It's
Oh, the outside the house ones, those big like weaver spiders.
The garden spiders. Oh, they're gorgeous.
Yeah,
And
they're
all named
gorgeous.
Charlotte.
Yeah,
Oh.
exactly. That's what I call it too. It's like, hey, Charlotte's up there.
Exactly.
Abbie is squinting and grimacing.
Spiders. No, thank you.
I'm fine
Take
with
them
it being
all.
outside, like free pest control.
Mm.
I'm
As
beyond
long as
that.
it's nowhere near me, I'm good.
I don't.
Draw the line at Black Widows though, and Brown Recluse, like those types. No.
Yep, I don't like the poisonous ones or any of the other ones really, and I really hate. I hate the knowledge that like at any given time, I think you're only like a few like inches away from a bunch of spiders. They're literally
that.
everywhere, and I hate thinking about it. So
I
like,
didn't know that, so thank you for that
Thank you
nightmare.
for putting
welcome.
that in my
if
brain.
you have to live in this hell with me,
I
I'll take you
will.
all down.
where you just think about all the spiders in your walls and under your floor, and yeah, enjoy.
Yay.
Kelsey, keep telling us about serial killer
Okay.
Gilles de Rais.
He's a way Gilles de Rais, he's way
Gilles.
worse than spiders. So his father died in a hunting accident that he might have actually witnessed, and his
Or-
mother died of an unknown cause.
He might have just murdered his parents, honestly.
I know when it said his mother died of an unknown cause, that's kind of what I was like, oh, maybe
Did she now?
Big air quotes around that.
Yeah.
unknown. But as a teenager, he was considered really hot-headed, and he took those big, big feelings into battle, where he became a renowned fighter. And apparently, Ray was incredibly wealthy, and he would spend lavishly on parties and servants and decorations, much like our friend Bluebeard. I don't know if he's a friend, but that guy. And it is said
Our
that Ray,
good, close, personal friend, Bluebeard.
a personal friend of mine. It's said that Ray started looking to religion to save his soul, and he built a chapel that was staffed by a bunch of young choir boys chosen by Ray himself, which is like horrifying
Okay.
in hindsight. And according to rumors, and this is my favorite, he also dabbled in the occult as a last-ditch effort to save his rapidly collapsing finances, employing alchemists and sorcerers.
Okay.
So
Cool.
it's super interesting. This is where the tea gets hot. So in 1438, according to testimony by a priest, Ray sent the priest to seek alchemists and sorcerers and had attempted to summon a demon named Baron. So Ray had written up a contract that would agree to, riches to the demon. But when no demon manifested, one of the alchemists said that the demon was angry and required the offering of the parts of a child. So Ray provided the remnants of a child to no avail. The demon still didn't show up, and the occult experiments left him bitter and his wealth totally depleted. So rumors began circling as children around the surrounding areas of the Ray's castle go missing. So it may have been something of an open secret, as it came out in his trial that witnesses had seen servants disposing of bodies by the dozens around 1437. And the families of the deceased were restrained by fear and low social status from taking action against him.
Mm.
So Ray wasn't arrested until September 1440, when he kidnapped a priest after a dispute totally unrelated to the murders, which I find hilarious that he just kidnaps a priest.
What was the dispute? What was it
Well,
about? Does it
maybe
say?
the children weren't worthy enough in his
Or
eyes.
maybe the priest
Sacrifice.
was like, hey, demons aren't good. So he's like, you know what? You gotta go.
Yeah. So it was like, I think it was that priest that spoke out against him in the trials. All of the names, by the way, are in Wikipedia, and I got a lot of this information from Wikipedia and Britannica, so I'm sure those will be in the show notes.
This is why I donate to Wikipedia every year during their donation drive, because thank you for providing me with all of my information.
Yep. So when Ray was arrested in 1440, he was tried for a range of offenses, including heresy, sodomy, and the murder of more than 100 children.
Oh my gosh.
So under the threat of torture, Ray confessed and described ritualistically torturing dozens of children between the spring of 1432 and the spring of 1433. He was sentenced to death by simultaneous burning and hanging on October 26th, 1440.
I hope the burning happened before they hung him so he could get a little bit of that heat.
Right? I mean, maybe it was like a strangulation hanging and not so much like, like the quick drop.
Yeah.
So this totally blew my mind. This was from the Britannica article. In one last nauseous irony, a tradition emerged in which parents around Nantes commemorated the anniversary of Ray's execution by whipping their children, perhaps to impress on them the gravity of the sins for which he had repented. This practice is believed to have survived for more than a century after his death.
What the hell?
Holy shit!
Like, what do they do? Say, like, hey, I could be murdering you right now.
Yeah, right? I
Wow.
could have sent you off to Ray's castle. Jeez.
Except this beating, it's better.
So other than the
Mercy.
partying, it really doesn't sound a lot like Bluebeard to me.
No,
but
because it's like kids and not
not
women,
as
not like
wives.
wives. Yeah.
So I love this part too. So there are also doubts of Ray's guilt. So counter arguments are based off of the theory that Ray confessed under the threat of torture, which, as a true crime podcast, that happens
Yeah.
constantly. People confess when they're feeling threatened or scared. And they also think it could have been part of an act of revenge by the Catholic Church for practicing paganism.
Yeah.
The Duke,
I can see that.
Ooh, okay.
and also
because it was a
political
priest that
reasons.
accused him in the first place, too.
And he
Ooh.
wasn't he
Also-
killing altar boys?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's that.
Also, the Duke of Brittany, who had the authority to prosecute, also received the titles to all of Ray's former lands after his conviction. And the Duke
Ooh.
divided the lands among his own nobles, making historians question whether Ray was a victim of the Inquisition, which, if you're not
Okay.
familiar with the Inquisition, it's a group of institutions within the Catholic Church whose aim was to combat heresy.
I
bet
really
my
only know
mother-in-law
like the
could school
Spanish
me on
Inquisition
that.
joke.
Yeah. Nobody expects a Spanish Inquisition.
So he might not have done any of it, is what you're
Yeah.
saying.
And what about
mean-
the witness accounts of dozens of bodies? Is made up?
I mean, possibly. I think most historians agree that he did commit the murders, but these are just counter arguments. There's actually an anthropologist who named Margaret Murray who wrote a book called The Witch Cult in Western Europe, which sounds awesome.
Yeah. I wanna
And
read
she
that.
speculates that Ray may have been a witch and an adherent of the fertility cult centered upon the pagan goddess Diana. Although, like I said, most historians don't really see Ray as a martyr to pre-Christian religion, but as a lapsed Catholic who descended into the crime and depravity.
Well,
But I love that I love that idea that maybe it was just the Catholic Church mad at him for practicing paganism.
It fits the bill.
Well, because also he was a follower of Joan of Arc, who they also pinned
Mhm.
witchcraft on and burned at
Yeah.
the stake.
It makes sense. Yeah.
There's a version of history in which that makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely.
right?
The truth may be somewhere sort of like in the
In between.
middle.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe he was also
We're like, he wasn't a nice guy, but he
Yeah.
also wasn't a mass murderer.
And maybe those bodies they saw, I mean, maybe they felt like they had to say that so the Catholic Church wouldn't also pin shit on them. You never
Yeah.
know.
You never
Mhm.
know. Yeah, absolutely. That's fascinating.
Let's go
It
ask
is
the demon.
fascinating.
I'm just joking.
Yeah. What was his name? What a weird name for a demon, by the
Baron.
way. Baron.
Not Beelzebub or
yeah.
one of the other ones.
The one that starts with the Z that you can't say or apparently summons it, which I ain't trying to fuck with today.
Oh yeah, I know that one.
Zandamal? I'm joking.
I don't know that one.
Oh, Zandamal. Yes, of course. If you guys probably haven't read my book,
Anna.
I wrote a book and I named a demon Zandamal, and he goes by Xander because it sounds more human. It's
It
just
does.
I love
He's
It also
Zandamal.
sounds pretty dope. Xander's a great
he's
name.
he's a snarky fucker, and it's
Very
hilarious.
Crowley-esque without being Crowley.
Mhm.
Ugh, I love Crowley.
Same.
That is a
Shameless
demon
plug
from
for my book on
Supernatural, Abby.
accident.
Crowley is a demon from the book Good Omens. Thank you very
Oh,
much.
well,
Oh, which
You're
one are
talking
you
about
talking about?
Supernatural.
Oh,
okay.
well,
Yeah.
Good Omens
Ah.
is great.
I've never read Good Omens, but now I will have to make that.
You know, you could just watch the Amazon Prime miniseries and get a pretty good idea of what the book was about if you're more
I
of
was
a...
referencing Supernatural.
Yeah, totally,
He's my
totally.
favorite Crowley.
Good Omens is way better, but you know, that's
Well, Supernatural took
just
a
my
shit.
opinion.
Like, it was amazing, and then it just
Yeah.
like
I stalled
I don't
out
know.
around season 10.
Mhm.
One day
It
I'll
just-
finish it. But
it got super repetitive and like
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
For
you gotta fix
so
the
long.
apocalypse. Your brother is in a fight, and you're
Oh,
both
no,
really emotional.
Sam sucks.
I
Big
was about to say,
surprise.
and Sam is a piece of shit. Love
Mhm.
Jared Padalecki. Hate the characters he plays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he played Garbage Boy on Gilmore Girls too.
Mhm.
Which
Which
let
Anna and I could talk forever about Gilmore Girls.
they changed his character after like 4 episodes. He was a decent guy to begin with, and then
And
they
then
were
they
like,
had to
let's make
change
him
him.
crappy. I don't know. That's a whole tangent and a half.
We could talk
Yeah.
for hours
Gilmore
about our
Girls-
problems with
Gilmore Girls is a
Girls,
separate conversation.
Let's just
including
start-
how horrible Rory and Lorelai are.
Yes,
could
Let's
start
just get it out there.
we could talk
We
about,
could-
talk about that.
We just all need to start a podcast that says bitching about Gilmore Girls. And
Emily
just
is
go
the
for
best
days.
Gilmore Girl, and you will never change my mind on that.
There's an episode of a podcast called I Hate It, But I Love It that you will love so much because they have a Gilmore Girls episode where they basically say all of these things.
Yes.
And you will feel so validated in your feelings.
I'm sure. We talk about it quite often.
Anyway, that's a totally separate thing.
Yeah, well.
All right.
Go on, Kelsey.
I have one more
Bluebeard.
person to talk about. It's a lot shorter. So another possible inspiration. So that was Gilles de Rais. That was one
Okay.
of the most notorious, like very first documented serial killers that we know of. I thought it was really interesting. It doesn't sound so much like Bluebeard to me, though.
No.
Right.
Murdering children. I guess the partying might be.
It sounds more like Hansel and Gretel, to be perfectly honest, like killing a bunch
Yeah.
of children for whatever reason.
Witchcraft.
For witchcraft, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But there is another possible inspiration for Bluebeard that sounds way more likely. It's a lot older, so there's a lot less information. This is very much based on legend. And
Okay.
his name is Connemar the Accursed.
Ooh,
Just
Yes.
that's a great name.
Isn't it perfect?
Yes.
I would just like to know how you get such an epic fucking title, like the Accursed. Like,
By-
what did you have to do?
great by being an epic asshole. I'm pretty sure is the
Yeah.
answer. So Connemar was a king in early Britain, and he was widely known for his cruelty. It's actually suspected that he was a werewolf. And I have zero other information. I could not find a lot of info about him being a werewolf specifically, but there is a lot of cool information about, you know, the werewolf scare in France a long time ago. It was
Oh my
like a
God.
werewolf epidemic.
Oh, damn.
Damn, I should have done that.
Connemar was said to have 3 wives before he married a woman named Tréfine, which led her to refusing to marry him because of his reputation. But after Connemar threatened to invade her father's lands, then she agreed to marry him,
Oh,
which sounds a lot more like Bluebeard already.
yes.
Very,
Yeah.
very much more Bluebeardy. Yeah.
Yep. So while Connemar went away for one reason or another, Tréfine finds a secret room containing relics of the deceased wives. And while she prays for them, their ghosts appear to warn her that Connemar will kill her if she becomes pregnant. And apparently there's some sort of prophecy that Connemar will be killed by his own son, and this is why he keeps killing his pregnant wives.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Oh,
Again-
that's so fucked up.
Yeah.
What if the baby's a girl?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey,
that.
women kill too.
The prophecy was son, so.
Oh, true.
So when he returns from wherever he was, I don't know, being an asshole, I guess, he discovers that Trefine is pregnant and she tries to run away, but he catches her and beheads her. So
Damn.
it is said that Saint Gildas finds Trefine and miraculously restores her to life. And there are two endings to this legend. So I read a couple of different conflicting things. One says that Saint Gildas brings Trefine back to Connemore, and when she arrives, the castle walls just collapse on Connemore and kill him.
Nice. Like it. Good ending.
But the other ending is that Trefine and her son, Tremor, I'm probably saying that wrong, Tremor.
Tremor sounds like a superhero name, like he causes earthquakes. It's
I was
a
about to
special
say.
power.
Yeah.
The ground tremors beneath.
What was that? What did we call that baby and Lindsey's story from the episode?
On
we
Chaos
did with you
Baby.
guys? Chaos
Chaos
baby.
Baby.
Chaos baby. That's a perfect name
Tremor
for this
baby.
podcast.
Oh, that
Tremor
sounded
baby.
horrible.
Tremor baby.
That sounds a lot more sad.
Chaos Tremor baby.
But in the other ending, Trefine and her son live out their lives in saintly retirement. But after Trefine's death, Connemore finds Tremor and kills him.
Oh.
And that's kind of the end. I read some other things that said Connemore was killed by somebody else in war, like years and years later. So
I like the house just tumbling down on him.
Me
That
too.
was
Yeah,
pretty
that's
great.
That's my
much
fave.
cooler.
Mm-hmm.
I
So
agree.
that
That
is-
sounds much more like Bluebeard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not
Yeah.
sure why Gilles de Rais comes up so often when you look up Bluebeard, when
Well-
Connemore the Accursed just...
I think if you mash them together,
about to
it makes a
say-
Yeah,
lot of
right.
sense
He
because
was the French nobleman.
yeah, he was
But-
the French nobleman and was kind of a party guy. So
Uh-huh.
and a good chunk of the Bluebeard fairy tale is
The big
extravagant
party.
parties to impress people.
I feel like a lot of fairy tales have a lot of partying going on.
They sure
Maybe
do.
that's why I like fairy tales so much. I too love a great party.
I want to go to a damn masquerade ball so badly sometime in my life. Just like anyone invite me, please. It would be so fun.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I know. How does one? They seem to happen in movies all the time. How do I
Like-
get an invitation to
Boys,
one
the
of
high
these
school
things?
dances.
Like Gilmore Girls
Never
didn't
went.
do that, but Gossip Girl did. And I believe
Okay, but Gossip Girl exists in a heightened reality, alternate
Yeah.
plane of existence where any
Yeah.
of those
Pretty Little
things would have
Liars, I
happened
think,
ever.
did.
Vampire Diaries did one too.
I was
So,
just thinking
yeah.
about Phantom of the Opera.
Mm.
We just
That's
need to be on a TV show so we can live out that fantasy.
We should that's the solution. We should be a TV show.
I feel like my life is a soap opera that I did not ask or audition for.
So
My
the
last-
least the universe could do would be to give you a production
Masquerade
team
ball,
and a
damn
lot of
it.
couture.
Yep, right. I just want to wear fancy clothes and a mask, so I don't
Well,
have to
we
use
have the
so much
masks right
makeup.
now, but the wrong side of the face.
Right?
That's not what I wanted,
You
universe.
have
I
to
didn't
laugh
ask
to
for
keep
this.
from crying.
Oh, no joke.
No, thank you.
Oh,
This
man.
this panorama that we've been
I
stuck
want
in
my
for
money
like
back.
ever. Right?
Be
the
more
roar-
specific in your wishes next time, Anna.
The Roaring 20s was just not what
I
we
want to wear a
expected.
mask. Here you go.
I mean, the least we could have done is the people who are making the masks and designing them could have made them look way cooler. And we all could have collectively decided to wear cooler looking masks.
Actually found one on
That's
a
fair.
Dormie's website at one
Oh,
point
yeah.
that looked like a
They-
bra cup
But
Yes.
they're
that
just very
you
lazy.
stuck over your mask.
They can show.
Aw.
I definitely want to go buy one.
think-
Oh, it was hilarious. I was like, Lindsay, did they just cut up a bra and put it like ear pieces on it? Like, it was so weird.
It was very weird.
Well, that was really like really fascinating because I heard you guys tell Bluebeard on your first episode, but I had no idea that there was ties to like real things in it. Yep, there's that.
It
was
literally
horrible.
looks like a
It
bra
looks like a bra cup
that they
I
added
would
ear straps
100% wear
to.
it.
for your face.
Is it padded? I only wanted
probably.
Up.
Yeah,
Push up.
give you good chin support.
Necessary.
So that was
That's
intense.
Fascinating. Yeah.
Very interesting.
So How are you going to follow that up, Abby?
I'm going to follow that up with something that you've already done.
Ooh, I like it.
Fortunately, I think I'm not covering the same creatures you went for.
Ooh, we have creatures? I like creatures.
Yeah, because you did leprechauns, changelings, banshees, and marrow, right? When you did your episode.
By the way, the marrow, I swear, that has to have some tie to fairy tales because they're really terrifying individuals.
Oh yeah, marrow are extremely scary.
Yes.
But I'm going to be just giving a little list of cool Irish monsters.
Which ties back into our first episode. So how fun is it that we have two
Ironically,
tie-ins?
Yeah. I love it.
Episodes.
I think that like that makes this such a beautiful like little dovetail.
Yes,
specifically planned this
on accident.
This was on purpose.
Our first episode.
And for the record, we forget what we cover all the time. So
Yeah.
no judgment on you not knowing that we covered that.
Me and Lindsey have
most of the stories we've covered.
Me and Lindsey have actually done research on shit we've already covered just to find out we've already covered it.
It's like, wait, this sounds
I was
really
gonna do
familiar.
a whole episode on changelings, and I started reading a story, and I was like, why is this familiar to me? Oh, because we told it already.
We talked about it already.
Tell me about my people. Tell me about the Irish.
Yeah, so I will our people. Oh, the Irish. Yeah, because Kelsey took care of the true crime section of the podcast, so I figured I would dip my toes into the paranormal, supernatural aspect of it.
Ooh, love it.
Because I love Irish and Celtic monsters, fairies, stories. They've always been a big chunk of why I was interested in this. So I almost said field, like this is like a thing that I professionally do, like as a folklorist. I podcast professionally, but this is why this subject really interested me, because I've always really enjoyed Irish fairy and folktales. They're definitely one of Kelsey and I's favorite types of story to tell on the podcast. I think in March we're planning on doing just Irish fairy and folktales.
Yes, I'm here for
the
that
entire month coming up. Yeah, it's going to be the best time. So I mostly used a website called the Irish Road Trip. They had this awesome, very long list that I'm going to be referencing really heavily in addition to Wikipedia. They also have county guides and a bunch of other resources in addition to a list of mythological creatures. So if you ever want to go to Ireland, go check out their website. It's great.
It is on my bucket list. Goals.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Me too. So I'm going to do a couple of different things from that list, more time depending. I do have the Banshee on here, which I know that you did in your previous podcast, but I think they're so cool and I still want to talk about them.
Yeah.
Yes, do.
So I'm going to kick off with the Banshee, or as she is also known, the Keening Woman. And the author of this blog opened this portion of it by saying that his dad used to scare the shit out of him, insisting that there was a banshee in his grandmother's backyard.
Oh my gosh.
Which was overgrown and dipped a little bit toward the back, so there was always a part of it you couldn't see.
Oh no.
And his dad told him that was where that a banshee lived, in the garden, and he totally believed him. And he vows in the blog to give his dad a good boot in the arse when he sees him again.
I feel like that's great parenting, though.
Absolutely.
100%.
I love it when parents or grandparents, especially grandparents, like tell kids really scary stuff that they definitely shouldn't be.
Mm-hmm.
I have
that happened to me a lot as a kid, and I think it contributed to my active imagination.
Yes, my aunt used to tell me crazy shit, like if I didn't wear socks to bed, that the witches would come in the windows and chop off my toes.
Oh my gosh!
And I was like, but I don't like the feeling of socks and blankets. It's weird. So I was terrified. I was terrified that witches were gonna take my toes. So yeah, if you guys, fun for the audience, write in any platform. Let us know the weird shit your parents, grandparents, aunts or uncles, whatever, told you when you were a kid that just
That
was off
terrified
the wall
you.
crazy that terrified you? We'd love to hear it.
I'm gonna send
So
you
would we.
mine.
Yes,
because
please.
I feel like that would be such a fun episode. Like,
Absolutely.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. This Irish guy who wants to kick his dad in the ass the next time he sees him goes on to say that depending on who you ask or what you read, the true form of the banshee tends to change. Some people tell you that banshees take on the form of a spirit, while others say that she's a fairy of sorts. And there are two things that everyone does tend to agree on. The banshee usually appears in the form of a woman. The banshee is one of the most terrifying creatures in Irish folklore, and that it is commonly believed that the scream of a banshee is an omen of death. And it's said that the scream or wail is a warning that there is death approaching. So if you hear the scream of a banshee, a member of your family will probably pass away shortly.
I love it.
Another common belief is that every family has its own banshee.
Oh,
which-
like you, like a pet?
No, not like
everybody
a
has
not
their
like a
own
pet.
banshee?
Like a spiritual attachment to your family.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
Oh, like a fucked up spirit guide.
mm-hmm.
yeah.
I love
Yeah.
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
So numerous folktales feature banshees. Kelsey, I have a couple earmarked for fairy tale fix, probably during Halloween, because they read like very spooky ghost stories.
I love it.
Yes.
It's funny. It's
So-
actually hard to find cryptids in fairy tales, like super
Mhm.
often. Like you assume that you would have a lot more creatures like that,
Right.
but I feel like it's actually pretty rare. It's usually
What
just
about
like
Yeah.
a
Greek
princess and a
mythology?
king.
Oh, Greek
Yeah.
mythology, you can find a lot of monsters, but
Yeah, maybe that would be good for Halloween. Meh.
Oh yeah.
it's possible. Yeah, there's definitely some good stuff to mine.
I'm just trying to get, my hopes and wishes out there.
Yeah, no, you'll be delighted. We dip into Greek mythology a little bit in an upcoming episode.
Yes.
Love
I
Greek
actually have
mythology.
a Greek story I've been saving, and something you said earlier today made me, I think I'm gonna do that one really soon.
I love it.
Yay.
I'm so
I
excited.
love Greek mythology. One year for Christmas, I got like a big foldable family tree of like all like Zeus's kids.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
that.
Oh, that is such a gnarled, twisty
And
family
And
tree.
it's huge. It like goes across the room when you
Is
unfold it.
Zeus just
Oh,
at the
sure.
top and then
Zeus
everything
had a
under?
lot of
I would
kids.
have to look at it again to see who all's on it, but it's a lot.
Zeus populated half of Greece.
Uh-huh.
Absolutely, he did.
But yes, no, also on the Halloween theme, Kelsey recently found like a list of stories featuring spectral bridegrooms that I'm really excited to dig more into.
Yes.
That'll be a
Okay.
good Halloween, hopefully some good Halloween fare
Yep.
or whenever.
Yeah.
Just
That
anytime.
sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool. But back to banshees.
Mhm.
Origin wise, and I thought this was super interesting. It was traditional in Gaelic cultures to express grief for the dead by keening, which is a sort of very loud wailing song, which was generally carried out by one or several women with a chorus that could be intoned by everyone else present. And then there would also be physical movements involving rocking, kneeling, or clapping, accompanying the keening woman or group of women who were often paid for their services. This was something that you could do professionally.
That's what I want at my funeral.
You
for
want me to
sure.
hire
Like,
keeners for you?
yes, that is what I want.
I'll do
I
it.
will hire you a group of wailing women to come
That
tear their
sounds
hair and
epic.
beat their breast at your funeral.
That sounds so epic.
Right, it does. It sounds awesome.
It really does. Like the Irish know how to throw a funeral
Mhm. They know how to throw any sort of gathering.
event. Yeah.
Event, yes. So in banshee stories, a banshee could sing when a family member died or was about to die, even if the person was really far away and news of their death hadn't come, because in those cases, her wailing would be the first warning the household had of the death.
This is really making me think about Frozen 2 and the siren call that Elsa hears.
Yes.
I know spoiler alert, we find out it's Elsa's mom
It's been a while.
in the
It's been a
past.
minute.
It's been 2 years, you all.
It's been 2 years. I think it's fine.
But I mean, technically, Elsa dies. She comes
Yeah.
back, but technically she
Yeah,
dies.
that's true.
So it kind of goes along.
Maybe the call was for Olaf.
But Olaf dies because
comes
Elsa
back.
dies. Yeah.
Yeah. I've never
My
seen the
3-year-old
movie.
watches Frozen like every day. And
Yeah,
so
I've seen the movie based on her child watching it, and I hear it in the background.
one day I will do an episode all on mythological beings from Frozen.
Yes, do that. I
have
would
notes
love
started.
that episode.
Yeah. I have notes started already. I'm gonna do it because she watches it like every day, and I love it, but it's the only way I can keep sane is to do that.
to like help keep yourself from just like screaming and
I
tearing
have
all your
TikTok
hair out.
videos of me pointing out plot holes in Frozen
Because you have seen it 10 million
that many times. When my older kids were younger, there was a 2-week span where they would not watch anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone was like, Lindsey, you have to turn off Frozen. I'm like, I can't. They will not let me. And I was tearing it apart. Like, but what about this? What about that? Oh,
There will
so
be a
now I'm gonna-
rebellion in this household.
Yeah. So now that we have a 3-year-old, she's into Frozen too. And so, yeah.
Excellent.
So now I'm going to do an episode about creatures in Frozen.
Please do. I
That's
greatly
awesome.
desire this.
I love it. Anyways, continue.
Anyways, wrapping up the Banshee, she always tends to have the appearance of a woman, sometimes a short old woman with long dirty hair, or she may appear as a tall woman wearing a gray cloak over a bright green dress, but her eyes are always red, which is
Ooh.
caused by her constant crying.
No, that's so sad.
I know. Well, she's a grief spirit.
True,
Okay,
yeah.
I mean, it
I
makes sense.
kind of want to dress up as a combination of both of those options as a mashup for Halloween, like
Mm-hmm.
ratty hair, green dress, cloak, and
Well,
maybe,
I
like,
don't know if you remember, Anna, from
colored
when
contacts.
when we did this on our first episode, when I was probably like 13, my mom had made me an elf dress because to this day, obsessed with Lord of the Rings. And
Yeah. Well, that's
so
what
I
we're
was
doing.
an elf, but then it was the year, like, you could go trick-or-treating by yourself without your parents. And so I was like a little embarrassed because the boy I liked was with us. So I was like, I'm a banshee.
I love that though. Both are so good. Elf, Banshee, both excellent. I stand both of those choices.
Great
Yes.
choices.
So that's about all I had for the Banshee. The next one that I wanted to talk about is a creature called the Abhartag or Avartag,
Ooh,
which
okay.
is an Irish vampire.
yes.
Tell me more.
Yes. So possibly one influence for Dracula because Bram Stoker was an Irishman.
Mhm.
And he likely would have heard this story growing up, or this series of stories. So the first appearance of this creature was collected in Patrick Weston Joyce's The Origin and History of Irish Names and Places in 1870. And Abhartag takes different forms depending on the tale. And there's a sepulchral monument to Abhartag in a parish in Derry. And Abhartag is also the Irish word for dwarf, which I think is interesting. So in Joyce's book, he says that this dwarf was a magician and a dreadful tyrant. And after having perpetuated great cruelties on the people, he was at last vanquished and slain by a neighboring chieftain. Some say by Finn McCool. That is his name. His name is Finn McCool.
That's a badass name.
Such a good name.
Yes, a famous Irish folk hero of legend.
Nice.
He accomplished many great feats and has literally the coolest name. So
Yeah, it's McCool.
McCool.
It's a very McCool name.
That name is pretty McCool. Yeah. So Abhartag was buried in a standing posture, but the very next day he appeared in his old haunts, more cruel and vigorous than ever. And so the chief slew him a second time and buried him as before. But again, he escaped from the grave and spread terror through the whole country. So yeah.
Why would they bury him standing up? That's so fucking weird.
I don't
just
know.
Like, I know that's the weirdest takeaway from that, but like that just blows my mind.
It is a weird way to bury someone. But wait, it gets weirder.
Oh, yes. But wait, there's more.
But wait, there's more. Okay, so, obviously this guy's not staying dead. They have to figure out something else because he's just, he's not consenting to stay dead. So the chief then consults a druid, and according to his directions, he slays the dwarf a third time, buries him in the same place with his head downwards, which subdued his magical powers so that he never again appeared on Earth.
Oh.
And the gravestone raised over the dwarf is still there, and you may hear the legend with much detail from the natives of the place, one of whom told it to me. That's what
Nice.
Patrick Joyce said in his book.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I really want to go to Ireland and have people tell me these stories. Like,
I want to go to Ireland and hear all the stories and see all the things and just never come back.
Right.
Just live there
forever. Although I heard European countries do not put ice in any beverage.
Nope.
So I don't know if I could. I don't know if I could do that or not.
Well, it's already pretty cold.
Ice.
I don't need ice.
Yeah, that's true. I eat like, I don't know if you guys have Sonic where you live. It's a restaurant that has the best.
Sonic is ubiquitous.
Yes, it has the best fun fact about Sonic: it's originated in my hometown.
Oh,
really?
Nice.
Yep.
Sonic is from Shawnee, Oklahoma.
Yes, it is.
Damn.
It's so weird that it's where I'm from, but yeah, it's like the weirdest thing.
Awesome.
But I'm obsessed with their eyes. Yeah, Brad Pitt was born in
What?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's not proud of it. Him and Angelina Jolie came to Shawnee once, and they shut down half the town. No, because we have like this teeny tiny little airstrip, and they had a private jet. And this, I think, was before all the kids.
Was it literally just he just wanted to be like, this is where I was born. Behold.
No, he came see it all right here. Bye.
It's all right here out your window.
There's not much to see. Sorry, Shawnee. But he like the police and everything, like private security, like shut down like half the damn town so he could get to his grandma's house. And like, I was like, what the fuck is going on today?
I'm sorry. Is Brad Pitt suddenly the president where you get to shut down the town if you show up?
I was about to say, when we lived in Colorado on a military base, they didn't shut down that extensively when the literal president came.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't like being a celebrity is wild if you can hire private security to shut the town down for you to go visit a relative. Like
it was so wild. I was like trying to go to work and I was like 17. I was like, what?
I'm sorry, Brad Pitt. Some of us have real jobs that we've got to get to. Go visit your
visit your grandma the way everybody else does.
Yeah, geez.
Sorry, I gotta go to Denny's. Leave me alone. Like, it was awful. I was like late, and then they wrote me up, and they were like, "Oh, well, it doesn't matter that the town like has every street pretty much blocked off." I was like, "Am I supposed to fly to work?"
I had to leave work early once. One of the times Obama was coming. And I had to tell my boss, I was like, I live on base. I'll be locked out. Like, I need to go. And he's like, sounds fake, but okay.
I am so happy that I learned the story of how Brad Pitt personally fucked up your day.
Yeah. I don't know that it was like
Kevin Bacon with Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
I don't know that it was him or Angelina Jolie that was like more
that needed all the security
traffic.
Yeah, I don't know, but it was.
I think
a weird
Brad Pitt
day.
seems like more of a diva.
Probably. I mean, I won't get into that. That's too mean. I was gonna pick on his hair from the '90s, but that's like every guy in the '90s hair.
It was all bad.
It was like they put the cap on and picked it out with tweezers and just bleached the like strands. It was weird. I don't know. It just crazy. But yeah, so Brad Pitt's from Shawnee, Sonic's from Shawnee, and I eat about a bag of Sonic ice every other day. Literally, it's like my favorite snack. It's weird.
Yeah, they've got like the crushed ice, right?
Yeah.
But so there are a couple of different variations of the Abertag. story. One of them is him rising from his grave to drink the blood of his subjects, which is where kind of the more vampire-y elements of the story come into play. And then the chieftain who slays him is sometimes named as Cahan, which is another famous Irish clan name. And the hero variously consults an early Christian saint instead of a druid and is told that Abatark is one of the walking dead and that he can only be restrained by killing him with a sword made of yew wood, burying him upside down, surrounding his grave with thorns, and placing a large stone on top of it.
Wow. That sounds complicated.
Yeah, very
That where the
complicated.
stake comes from, though?
That is what I thought about, is
Yeah.
that like one of the origins for the stake legend. Because also, this is one of the reasons why they thought that Abatark was a huge inspiration for Dracula, because that is I think one of the ways in which they are able to eventually defeat Dracula is staking him.
Although
think-
I would just like to point out that I've never, and this is what I think needs to happen in the next vampire movie that comes out. They just need to tip them on their head, and then they have no magic powers.
Yeah, exactly. They should have been burying them upside down from day one.
Because like
Yeah.
some lores you have to chop their heads off. Like some lore, like there's so many different ones, and then you just have to bury them upside down.
Obviously. And that
saves so much.
Because apparently, like, Bram Stoker may not have had access to some of the because a lot of people also think that Dracula was based on like Vlad the Impaler,
Right.
but at the time that might not necessarily have been common knowledge in the same way. In Bram Stoker's day, he may not have necessarily had access to that information.
Right.
So he may have, but also probably not. So this seems like another very likely possible inspiration for Dracula. So you can actually visit Abatark's grave. It's known as Slaughterverty Dolmen and is also locally referred to as the Giant's Grave. And it comprises a large rock and two smaller rocks under a hawthorn bush. And it's located in the town of Slaughterverty in Northern Ireland. So you can actually go check it out if you want to. Yeah,
That's awesome.
It sounds awesome and creepy. There's a photo of it that I could share. Of
Yes.
it
Yeah, I'd
underneath
love to see
the
that.
hawthorn
That'd
bush.
be great.
Yeah. So that's that guy. And then there was a couple of honorable mentions.
Oh yes, I'm here for it.
Honorable mention because Kelsey had a werewolf, a potential werewolf in hers. That there are sort of an Irish werewolf legend called the Man-Wolves of Ossory.
Ooh, okay.
And the motif of Man-Wolves of Ossory is really strong, apparently, in Irish mythology. There are a lot of old stories that revolve around tribes of wolfmen in the Irish wilderness. And ancient kings of Ireland used to seek their assistance during war when they were going up against a fierce opponent. I wasn't able to actually hunt down any of these stories. I read about that right before we were supposed to come on. So
That's
that might
still
be a
really
future
awesome,
episode.
though.
Yeah.
Great, yeah.
Yeah, super, super cool. And it does remind me a lot of there's this really incredible animated movie that unfortunately you can only get on like Apple Movie or whatever Apple's streaming service is. But this reminds me a lot of this movie called Wolfwalkers, which is a movie set in Ireland during one of England's earlier invasions of Ireland, when they were it's around that time period that is the basis for a lot of Irish folklore about pulling one over on your landlord, because your landlord was more often than not a British person at that time, that was screwing you over. So, but this movie takes place at around kind of the initial period of the colonization of Ireland by England, and involves this young girl who goes out into the woods and meets another young girl who can turn into a wolf. And I think that's it's so beautiful. It's such a beautiful film. The animation is gorgeous. The music is gorgeous. The story is fantastic. I highly recommend watching it. And that's what the Man-Wolves of Ossory put me in mind of.
Great.
Yeah, it's
That sounds
lovely.
awesome.
It is
I like
truly
interesting
gorgeous.
movies. I mean,
Mhm.
there's so many remakes
It
everywhere.
also features Sean Bean.
Does he die?
Yeah, no, he doesn't die.
Oh,
Damn it, that's actually a pretty big spoiler because the movie makes it seem like he will. But then they pull one up, they pull the rug out from under you, and Sean Bean doesn't die.
Good for you, Sean Bean.
Oh.
You're gonna win.
Sorry, Anna, I cut you off. You were talking about like remakes being too much, being a big thing.
I'm really big on like finding new content. So this is exciting to hear that there's something that I've never heard of before. It's like everything's a fucking remake nowadays. There's nothing new. It's getting really droll. I'm watching a lot of.
I mean, there are so many things
Housewives.
to draw from.
Yeah.
Every time we read a fairy tale on our podcast, we're like, why isn't this a movie? Why do they keep remaking Cinderella? Why aren't they
Right.
doing Tatterhood or
Why are they shittily remaking Cinderella over and over again?
When we already got the perfect version.
uh-huh.
The Whitney Houston Brandy version. It's
Yes.
over. We did it. We achieved peak
We have
Cinderella.
peak. Yeah.
It's done. Let's move on.
I seen another one the other day on Amazon Prime,
Yeah.
and it has
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
I
new
haven't watched it.
people.
Camila Cabello,
I've never
right?
heard. I never heard of it.
Yep.
I haven't watched it. But
Yeah, and I was like, it's something.
And it's like, it's
I'll
a
leave
good
it-
story. It's fine.
It
But
it's
so much
funny.
fun.
It's
there are
yeah,
other
there's
fairy tales
more-
that are so good. Oh, we should get a Baba Yaga. Like,
Yes.
movie
Where's
series.
our Vasilisa the Beautiful film?
Ugh, that would be
Yes.
such a fun
Like,
story.
Yes.
That'd be a perfect movie.
It would
yes. I'm here for anything unique and different that you guys have covered that is not currently a movie, because there are so many fairy tales that they just like continuously rap over and over and over again, and I'm just like over it.
be. Mm-hmm.
That was my bitch fest for the moment.
I like it. It's a good complaint.
Going back also to the fact that the girl turns into a wolf. That is such like a childhood dream for probably most children.
Uh-huh.
Absolutely.
My 10-year-old went through the wolf phase where she wore the Great Wolf Lodge ears. She and her whole little group of friends did, and they're like, we're wolves, and like, oh man, like all that, and it's like that's just perfect.
Yeah.
I just pretended to be a
really-
witch all the time.
Yes, same.
That too. Yeah. I mean, did you also go out with your siblings or with childhood friends and like go and like pick berries and then like grind them and try to make like little potions?
Oh, we were once convinced that I went to this, like, I guess you could call it like a daycare, but we weren't like toddlers. If after school and summer cares, our parents were.
Mhm.
And we would always do that, like make the potions, and like we were witches. And there was one time we were convinced we turned one of the other kids into a worm. I saw him across the field, like across the playground, but we were
No,
like, oh
you
my
did
God,
it.
we
You
did
turned
it.
him into a worm. Good job.
I love that. I
I
went
can
to
remember our little spell that I won't embarrass myself.
That's so cute.
I had a gaggle of girls, and our initiation was you had to know the entire Sarah's song from Hocus Pocus, the Come Little
I love
Children,
Oh,
or you couldn't hang with us.
Absolutely. That's
And-
fair.
We would
That's a
just went
good
around
test.
like cursing kids and like the most ridiculous childish like type spells ever. Like, you're gonna get an F on your spelling test. And then when they would, like, we thought we were all magical and powerful, and it was, an ego boost and a half. But we went to a Renaissance fair once when I was in like 6th grade, and they sold potions.
mm.
You know,
Ooh.
Probably Kool-Aid, because that's kind of what it tasted like.
You drink it.
We totally drank it because we were like 12.
Oh my God.
And one
That's
of
so
them
much
was
fun.
to have like psychic powers. And you know how like when the air conditioner kicks on, the doors will open and close kind of a little bit.
Hmm.
My friend was convinced, she probably was still convinced to this day, I swear, she moved that door with her mind. And I was like, I believed it at the time until I grew
Right.
up and
Yeah.
rational thinking took over. But yeah, we took magic potions from a Renaissance fair that was probably poisonous. So there's that.
Gosh.
We didn't die. That's the moral of the
You're
story.
fine.
Don't drink things that you buy at medieval fairs unless it's like at the food and beverage stand.
Yeah, that's it, unless it's actual.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I will never not get lots and lots of food and drink at Renaissance fairs.
Yes. I want to buy those like outfits like you guys used in your 1 year anniversary photo shoot. But like, hear me out. They're so expensive. Because they're like handmade and they're beautiful and it's just like $500.
Oh,
okay.
there's so many good ones out there.
I mean, mine
Yeah.
was
Actually, I think we
$30.
did the cheap thing.
Oh,
and
yeah?
went with like
Yeah. We got
really
real cheap
costumey
ones.
ones that
Yeah.
were like $20.
They
I can-
looked really nice.
I can link you.
though.
I can link you the stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was nice and relatively inexpensive and it was, I don't know.
That's what we
Decent
need to
enough.
work on, is getting a sponsorship from like Holy Clothing or whatever.
I get
Yes.
ads for them. I don't know how.
Their
I've
stuff
never
is
heard of them, but I
so
get like
cool.
sponsored ads for them a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, their designs are amazing
Yeah, they look
I
great.
wanted
Those
to
are
look
the
at them now.
expensive
I've never
ones.
clicked them. I want to go look
Mhm.
now.
because they're so
I-
expensive.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love like medieval attire. I think it's gorgeous.
I made my
Mhm.
mom make me an elf dress. So that's all you need to know about me.
I love knowing that about you. That's so wonderful.
I wish I knew what happened to that dress.
Um
'Cause that was
well,
like half my life ago.
Mm-hmm.
you had a little sister. She probably took ownership of it at some point.
And
Like-
I doubt it. I don't know what
It wouldn't
happened to her.
surprise me. Like when she left your house when she lived with you, spilling some tea. Didn't she take like some of your favorite lipsticks and stuff? I mean, that's a little sister's job.
I don't remember if she did or not. I do know that she left some of her stuff. The
Oh,
last
maybe
time
she
came.
left
She
her
left a couple
stuff.
of. She left a couple of shirts.
Oh, and
And
you
one
stole
day-
them. So
One day she texted me and was like, "This is really random, but is there any chance that such and such is at your house?" And I went and I put it on and took a picture. I was like, "You mean this?"
maybe
There
that's
have
the
been
story I was
times.
thinking
There
of.
have been
Yeah.
times because I moved across the country away from my hometown in 2009, and there have been times where she like would post a picture on Facebook or MySpace or whatever, and it'd be like, "I'm like, that's my shirt,"
Yeah.
and I've been looking for it for years.
Yep. I
Sisters,
I
yeah.
had similar
Classic
feelings
sister thing.
because I went to visit my sister in September, and I just remember looking at her closet and going,
Uh-huh.
Thankfully,
There it
me and my
is.
me and my sister have very different taste in clothing.
That's
where
lucky.
she says I'm too damn prissy, and I'm like, I just like to look pretty. I don't know. And she just likes to be comfortable. So, I mean,
Mhm.
she looks nice, but she's just cozy. And
Yeah.
I'm just like info leather leggings and like a sweater dress. And she's like,
Sure,
you're
sure.
doing too much. And I'm like, probably.
Too much.
But it's just like, so we didn't ever have that really, but we did, we wear the same shoe size, and she has a lot of really nice tennis shoes. So I would like borrow without
Yeah,
permission.
just borrow. It's fine.
They may have came back dirty, and I had to buy a pair of $200 sneakers to replace them once.
Oh,
I learned my lesson.
no.
I learned my lesson. I never touched her shoes again
Yeah.
because they didn't have the ones I screwed up. So she just picked her next favorite pair. I was like,
Mm.
but yeah.
Yeah.
So was there any other creatures, Abby?
Oh yeah, I have one more.
All right.
Oh,
I got
yay.
one more, and this one is the puka.
The puka?
Ooh,
The
okay.
puka.
I just think
Okay.
of the dog off Anastasia.
Oh my god, puka! So cute.
I used to have a stuffed puka. I wish I never.
Ah, so adorable. I think I had the exact same toy.
Yeah, like the little badge.
Yeah, yes, I definitely had exactly that toy.
I think
It's
of that
adorable.
crazy teddy bear Christmas movie on Hulu. It's like a horror Christmas.
Oh, yes. Well, I
Movie.
think it might be based off of this creature.
Oh,
It's
nice.
a really weird movie. If you haven't seen it and you like horror movies, I would definitely suggest checking it out. But it is really strange.
Ooh, okay. I'm here for it.
Oh, there's actually 2 movies. The
There's
sequel is
2
better.
pukas?
Yes, they made a sequel to Puka.
Oh boy.
that includes that nerdy red-haired chick.
Yes,
That's
Steven was watching it. I am recalling it
awesome.
now.
She plays Charlie in Supernatural. I can't remember her
Oh,
name.
yeah, I
Oh.
can't remember
As soon
her
as you
name
said
either.
that, I figured out who you were talking about.
That nerdy red-haired
Felicia Day.
chick. Yes, Felicia Day. She's in
I
Puka
never
too.
would have got it without IMDb.
I love Felicia Day. Felicia Day pops
Anyway.
up in a lot of stuff that I enjoy. Okay, anyway, so it's usually spelled like Pooka or Puca. And it also featured in childhood stories that terrified the author of the Irish road trip blog.
Nice.
There's an excellent illustration that I will also pass along at some point, but it's got like a bunch of different drawings of a few different kinds of puka because they don't always have the same shape, but they look like drawings clipped out of Where the Wild Things Are. Sort of
cool.
Okay.
very, very naturey and very sort
Mhm.
of like round and kind of they have like horns and tails, or they look like they're like trees that have come to life, and they're just very, very cool looking.
All right.
So
That's interesting. Yeah.
puka means ghost or spirit in Irish. And the author of the blog said that we were always told as kids that the puka was a type of creature that had black or white hair, which doesn't sound that scary until you hear more about what it looked like, which pukas were apparently often mistaken for an animal due to their ability to change shape and size, and they were feared by many a human in rural Ireland. And the puka was known to only frequent quieter parts of Ireland, so that's why you only hear about them in rural areas.
Okay.
Mhm.
They also only appear at night, and it was said that they brought either good or bad fortune to those that they appeared to. And they also don't go around doing physical harm to people
Well,
either.
that's
So
good.
it's much more of like a messing with you kind of
Yeah, I love
terror.
that.
Yeah.
I love
Yes.
that chaotic neutral
Yes.
personality.
That's a puka to a T.
It's like you choose your own destiny with the how you treat them type thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty common in Irish fairy tales, I feel like fairies and creatures
Yeah.
like that. They're not really all bad and they're not all good. They're just kind of whatever.
They're around, and depending on their mood and or
Mhm.
/ how you treat them, they will either help you, hinder you, or mess with you and then leave you alone.
Yeah. Certainly don't piss them off.
Don't piss them off.
We definitely did the first episode we ever did. We covered fairies.
Somehow.
And
Mhm.
the
we did something
fae,
wrong.
we did something. Didn't talk enough about them, focus on the banshees. I don't know. We
Mhm.
pissed them off somehow, and then Lindsey lost laptop screws,
Yeah.
and I just lose stuff all the time, and then it'll randomly show up again. I'm like, wait, but that
The
wasn't here.
screws
Like
never
10
showed up.
I
and
think
I
that's
had
just
them in a
ADD.
cup. I had them in a cup so I wouldn't lose them.
Mm-hmm.
And they still disappeared.
Well, you're not supposed to talk about them, so
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
We've
Well,
apologized so many times, and
yeah, you need to make an offering to the fairy queen or something, and
we'll leave her sugar cubes or something. I've read somewhere or heard somewhere once that you offer sugar to fairies, and they either have to like they
They have to pick up like every
pick up
single
every
grain.
single grain. But yeah, so maybe that would piss them off more. Maybe I shouldn't do that.
or just keep them
I do-
distracted long enough to forget about you.
Yeah. I
Yes.
do
Yeah.
think they like offerings of food.
Mhm.
Is something I've heard.
I
Quite
think
a bit.
milk is a
I think-
common offering.
Okay.
So the puka apparently takes on the form of a creature that is a mix between a dog, a rabbit, and a goblin. That was what the author was told as a child. But in reality, after he grew up and did a little more research, the puka is more traditionally a shapeshifter.
Okay.
A puka could take the shape of an old man if it believed the appearance would benefit them, or it could take the form of a dog. And in some stories, you'll also hear it said that the creature took on the appearance of a black horse with a wild mane whose golden eyes shine brightly. And other people who claim to have encountered a puka have encountered a human with jet black hair. Although many people dispute its appearance, one common facial feature is consistent in many stories. It always has big, bright, golden eyes.
Cool.
The way you described the stallion, I think that would make a really cool cartoon, like to see it illustrated.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to see like a puka story actually illustrated.
I want
That'd
to
be
see him
really
turn
cool.
into an old man. I love
With
that. I wish I
dog
had that
ears and like a
superpower.
bunny tail.
Kind of gives me vibes of a certain creature that you're not supposed to say the name of that I have seen referenced on TikTok as flesh pedestrian.
What?
So,
Oh,
can
can I
allegedly
say
you're not
it?
supposed to say it. I mean, that's up to you. Depends on what you believe.
Skinwalker, right?
Yeah.
I'm not too worried.
If you're in the Appalachia area, I don't think you're supposed to say anything close to it at all, because you hear nothing, you see nothing, you don't say anything back. Like,
Let me just say, that's where my mom and her family is all from. She had no idea.
Ooh.
She had no idea.
Really?
I'm like, you all let us play outside all the time. There's woods right there. She's like, I've never heard
it. Well, there's apparently something special about like the woods in Appalachia.
Yeah.
Like that's like
like
extra
I'll have to
eldritch.
ask my mom sometime if she knows things.
Okay, so I'm almost done with the puka. But I'm just going to tell like one sort of very, very brief like puka story.
okay.
And it's one of the stories that sort of comes up time and time again in relation to them. And one of the stories is sort of a brief synopsis is that the puka often takes on the form of a friendly horse. And the puka horse presents itself to weary humans that have usually just stumbled out of a house or a pub and are a little worse for wear, if you know what I mean. And the puka then takes its drunken passenger on a terrifying trip home.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Is it terrifying because they're drunk or because it is intentionally to be terrifying?
I think it's they're drunk and so they think like, oh, a friendly horse. I'll just ride the horse
I would
home.
watch a horror comedy of that.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So the author of the blog says, imagine if Formula One was held in a small rural town in Ireland, and you should get the picture of this crazy horse ride. The weary passenger soon realizes that something is amiss as the horse jumps over hedges and gallops around the area in searches of ways to scare its passenger. And they usually have to figure out a way to like bail out.
Oh man.
Safely. Yeah, that's mostly it.
I love it.
On the puka, but I love it so I love it so much because it's just like a little tricksy little fairy creature that's just it's really just here to mess with you.
Yes,
that's kind.
Oh, I love that. I love everything you guys covered. Well, we have a little something for you guys as well.
Oh my gosh, I'm so
we
excited.
wanted to pull a little bit of the fairy tale fix into the GABB realm.
Oh my goodness.
Yes,
Nice.
but see, we don't quite cover fairy tales. That's your department. That's your specialty. However, we decided to pull a little twist on you. What if we covered lullabies and nursery rhymes?
Oh, absolutely.
Ooh,
yes.
okay. Oh my god, those are always so messed up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nursery
So-
rhymes especially are just horrifying.
Yes, we were
The
hoping
plague.
that you could make some predictions
Okay.
About
And
their
then-
origins.
We'll try.
about the origins and then or the fucked up meanings behind, whatevs.
Right, yeah.
And
Okay.
and then if you are accurate, you get a point. And if you already know it, but your component gets it wrong, you get their point.
Yeah, I love it. That's so exciting.
So if you already know which one means what, like you just have to be like, I
Well,
know.
Honor system.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Gotcha.
but if you are honest and say I already know, and then they're wrong, you get 2 points. So there's that.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Alright.
so that's fun.
Hell yeah.
And I know y'all are very competitive, so I will keep track of this.
I don't know.
All right, so I got my little post-it note. All right, Lindsay, do you want to start us off?
So for starters, in my research, we were looking up like messed up meanings of lullabies and like stuff like that. And I learned something that I thought I would share before we dive into actual specifics, which is that apparently the word lullaby is derivative from Jewish folklore or Lilith Abbey, which was Lilith go away. So people were singing lullabies to protect their children from Lilith.
Oh shit!
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
which I'm like, okay, that already starts off dark, and I love
Yes,
it.
that's fantastic.
So that was very interesting. And so it kind of also makes it make more sense that so many nursery rhymes and lullabies are so fucked up.
And for
Uh-huh.
anyone who doesn't know who Lilith is, she was a demon who was alleged to be
Allegedly,
Adam's
first wife.
wife before Eve.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where the term lullaby comes from, and I think that's kind of cool.
Yes,
That's
I
so
love
Um,
crazy. I had no idea.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why the origins are so damn dark.
Right.
that. Right.
Well, if it's supposed to be, if the whole point is that it's a dark little song to ward off evil, then
Mhm.
yeah, that makes a lot of
Exactly.
sense.
Exactly.
That's
All
awesome.
right. So we're gonna start off with Humpty Dumpty.
Ah, yes. I love
Predictions.
this.
I mean, I've definitely
Predictions.
heard Humpty Dumpty.
Mhm.
Yes, but the origin behind Humpty
Oh, the
Dumpty. Do you have
origin
any
of Humpty
predictions?
Dumpty.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gotcha.
I'm almost positive we talked about this on our podcast at one point because they mention Humpty Dumpty in the fir tree in that Hans Christian Andersen story.
Oh, maybe.
You're right. Do you
I mean,
remember?
we didn't-
do you
we didn't
remember
go
the
deep
origin?
into it.
I don't
Okay.
remember this, so you're refreshing my memory.
I don't. I mean, if we
It was
talked about
brief.
what the origin was, I don't remember what it was.
I remember
Yeah,
you
because
just
the mice
saying.
tell the fir tree the story of Humpty Dumpty, and so I remember looking it up a little bit, but I honestly don't remember very much
Mm-mm.
about it.
I remember you saying earlier in this episode, once you hit send, it erases from your memory. So,
It's gone.
okay. Humpty Dumpty
Okay.
sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall, and all the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. Do we have any predictions, real quick, before I tell you
predict that Humpty Dumpty was a prince who got trampled by his father's cavalry.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
wow. I thought it was about a king who fell. Like, he. Oh, because there's more to that
Literally
nursery
fell or like in
rhyme.
power.
He fell in power. Sorry,
Okay.
I erased. Yeah, he fell in power. But I feel like there's more to the nursery rhyme. Like-
That's all that we have in our notes. I mean, it probably goes
Is that
in
it?
more
Okay.
depth somewhere, but that's just from the listicle that we found that
Mhm.
that's what it gave us.
Okay, yeah, I guess that's my prediction is that it's about a king who fell from power.
There is no evidence to where history places this simple little story or nursery rhyme, I should say. But there are a number of theories. A version we know today was first published in 1810. Some believe it refers to the average village drunkard, and others believe it is in reference to King Richard III of England, who was often portrayed of having a humpback. That's kind of rude, by the way.
Oh,
Ooh.
right.
The story is that King Richard III went to war in the Battle of Bosworth and fell off his horse
Mm-hmm.
and was chopped into pieces by
Ooh.
his rivals. So I'm going to give Kelsey a
Ooh.
half a point.
Okay.
Wha-
Also, I'm
Okay.
just remembering the Humpty Dumpty thing from Hans Christian Andersen. In that story, the fir tree was like, he had a princess or something. Humpty Dumpty got to marry the princess. Do you remember me talking about that in
Yes.
that episode?
Now,
And we
yes,
were
I
like-
do.
So I feel like maybe Hans Christian Andersen didn't actually know the story of Humpty Dumpty.
Also,
I always
I
just think about they always say, like, I remember this one thing that went around a while ago that was like, they never said Humpty Dumpty was an egg. He's
yeah.
always
Yeah.
portrayed as an egg in the pictures.
Yeah.
Huh?
No one
Every
ever said
time.
he was an egg.
I
Yeah,
like the
it-
drunkard theory though. That's
The
way more
drunkard
fun.
theory made me smile.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, Lindsay, which one are you going to cover?
Okay. Mary, Mary, quite contrary.
Ooh.
So the nursery rhyme is Mary, Mary, quite contrary. How does your garden grow? With silver bells and cockle shells and pretty maids all in a row. So predictions.
Mary's a witch. It's definitely about a witch and her garden and her herbs.
I like that.
It's
What
gotta
do you
be
think,
it.
Abby?
Can you read it again?
Mary, Mary, quite contrary, how does your garden grow? With silver bells and cockle shells and pretty maids all in a row.
God, that really does sound so witchy.
But with pretty maids all in a row. No. It's about a cemetery keeper. I'm changing my. Can I change predictions?
Sure.
Yes, we haven't said the final result yet. So yeah,
Maybe Mary is like from Christianity, and it's like about a grave, because all maids right in a row. It's all the kids dying, and that's like their gravestones and the flowers. Okay, that's my prediction.
okay. So a
My
cemetery with
Goodness.
a lady named Mary and a bunch of dead kids.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh God.
I love the idea of it being a garden of the dead. That tickles me. Well, if Kelsey's not taking the witch, then I'm taking the witch, because that was also my first thought. It's about a woman who is suspected of witchcraft.
It's
Okay, are you all ready? I think this
Yes.
is really, really messed up.
I was about to say it's a witch in a way.
It is actually about, allegedly, I guess I should say, Queen Mary the First, so Bloody Mary.
Of course it is.
nice.
It
A
says
special type of witch.
yeah. So it says it's written to heckle her time on the throne. Contrary describes her style of leadership. And how does your garden grow? This is the part I hate. Mocks her inability to produce living children.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
Mean.
And so the silver bells and cockle shells is a euphemism for her torture devices. And the pretty maids all in a row referenced both numerous miscarriages, so fucked up, and many dead bodies that accumulated over her 5-year reign.
So, there were dead bodies. Half a point for
Yeah,
each
yeah.
of you.
There were a lot of dead bodies.
Lots of dead people. Oh man, you see, because that's usually they didn't call her Bloody Mary at all, and that's usually how I know that it was Mary.
Right.
Well,
That was
and we
mean of
even
them.
went back and forth. We were like, is this where the origin story of Bloody Mary comes from? We couldn't find it out.
Well, I mean, the origin
no.
story of Bloody Mary,
like
the
the
bathroom,
mirror game.
the
Yeah.
bathroom
Mirror
ghost.
game. Yeah. I was like, is that where that
No
comes from
idea.
too? Okay, this one's fun. And it's London Bridge. Not the Fergie version we all know and hate. But
Right.
London Bridge is falling down. Okay, and London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down. London Bridge is falling down, my fair lady. Any
Mhm.
predictions?
It's definitely like a war.
Yeah.
Right? Like.
Okay, so we're predicting war for each.
Yep. It's definitely.
Okay.
I guess like I'm going to predict era, I suppose, since Kelsey and we can't just both say war, I guess.
War.
Okay, you could predict who went to war.
Oh, I have no idea.
I mean, England
No idea.
versus God, England fought lots of people. England
A
likes to
lot.
fight people. You know what? Here we go. I'm gonna go out on a limb and I'm gonna say it was the Saxons versus the Vikings.
Okay.
Because I'm playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla right now, so that's very much
Nice.
All right, Miss Kelsey.
Oh gosh, I honestly have zero clue. And I feel like there's also more to that nursery rhyme too. I think there's extra verses,
There is, yeah.
but I
This
can't
is just
remember
what I
they
read.
are.
What
I
Lindsay
just
is
remember the
putting this on note.
game. You put your arms, take the key, and lock her out. That's the only part I can remember.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Oh shit. Well, if that's the second verse, then I want to change my answer.
Okay.
I'm going to say that it has something to do with Elizabeth II and keeping her locked inside the Tower of London.
Okay. Elizabeth II, Tower of London. Kelsey?
I don't.
Are we
have
still predicting
anything.
war? You
I-
already
yeah,
okay, war.
I guess
Okay.
I have no clue. I am not a history war knowledge person.
All right. There are several theories about the meaning of the origins of this very popular, catchy nursery rhyme.
Nice.
One has it referring to the Viking attack. I was
Damn it!
Okay.
Why did I switch?
It was hard
Why
to
did
be
I
quiet when
switch?
you switched?
I tried to keep like a Stonewall poker
Yeah.
face. I was like,
why did I win?
I already
genuinely
marked off your
impressed.
half a point for it too.
I'm so angry.
The
I'm
Viking
genuinely
attack
impressed that you've thought of that at all, though.
of the bridge in 1009. And then another fable is that the bridge's foundation was made of human children remains.
Jeez.
Right.
There's no proof of that, but
No,
that is
it's a
theory.
common theory. And the only
Wow.
way to keep the bridge standing was to offer another child as sacrifice to it.
Wow.
Right. There's no proof, by the way, that this is it's just a theory on
Right.
the internet. And you know,
Still.
everything on the internet is actually true facts, of course.
True facts. Yeah, absolutely.
Another says that it was dealing with the degradation of the old bridge over time and a call to repair it. So that's
Boring.
boring as
Yeah.
fuck.
That is a very
And
boring origin story.
Hey, it's fine,
Well-
now let's make a song about it.
Like a song about how we
Well-
should all pitch in to repair it.
Right. That's how they fundraised for it. Then the other one is Walt Disney created a cartoon version in which the bridge was brought down by age and fire destruction. So yeah.
There's also
But-
theories about who the fair lady is.
Yes.
Mhm.
And they are
That's
Eleanor
why I
of
switched my
Provence.
stupid guess.
No, you could have had that one.
I could have had that one. That one was.
I was
that
like,
one
so
could have
impressed when you said
been
that,
me.
though, too. And I was like, I never would have known.
I
at
should
all that
never
the Vikings
second
even
guess
ever
myself.
fought there.
They
I have no
did
idea
all
who
the
he was, but-
time, and it was right around the time
Can't
that
say I
London
know
was
much
being
about-
built.
Yeah, I can't say I know much about that part of his story.
Ah!
Abby is so pissed right now.
Legitimately, I'm so angry. Like I am sitting here stewing
is
in my
so
own
right.
rage, and I have no one to blame but myself, which makes me even angrier.
Who else is it predicted to be, Lindsay?
So Eleanor of Provence, who owned the bridge at one point, Matilda
Good
of
for her.
Scotland, who built the first covered bridge and consorted with Henry I, and the Lee family, who carried on the legend about the human sacrifices.
Nice.
That family sounds fun.
It's
That's
so
my
fun.
favorite one. I like that theory the best.
Yeah. Like,
They just kept the urban legend going.
okay.
So
We have time
last
for
one.
one more. All right.
All right. Bring it
Okay.
on.
So I'm going to read the nursery rhyme portion. You guys make your predictions, and Lindsay will tell us the good stuff.
Yes.
All right. So we are doing 3 blind mice.
Oh, I love this one.
3 blind mice. 3 blind mice. See how they run. See how they run. I suck at singing, sorry. They all ran after the farmer's wife who cut their tails off with the carving knife. Did you ever see such a sight in your life? 3 blind mice.
Predictions.
Gosh, I just thought it was literal. Like,
I did too
Like,
prior to
I
this.
Okay, so it's not literal.
no.
Not literal.
Interesting.
Mm.
Okay.
the three
The
blind
th-
mice. So I'm assuming the 3 blind mice aren't really mice at all, that they're men.
Mm-hmm.
Or they're
Mice are
people.
men. Okay.
3
yeah.
beggars tried to steal from a rich guy, and his
Yeah.
cook tried to kill them.
I like that. I'd watch that movie.
I would too.
All right. Was there any other predictions from anybody?
No, that's all I've got. Just that the mice are actually people, and there's I've no
Well,
idea.
you do get a point for that. The 3
Woo!
blind mice were the 3 noblemen convicted
Oh,
for
shit.
plotting against Queen Mary I. So back again with the Bloody Mary.
Huh? Wow.
And
Just all over the place.
so they were plotting against her, and so as a result, she had them burned at the stake. And so the carving knife is like her going after them. Or going after her.
Wow.
Well, people took a lot of shots at Mary. I mean, which makes sense. She had she
Yeah.
was awful, and she killed a lot of people. They call her
Mhm.
Bloody Mary for good reason, but still,
Exactly, yeah.
it's a lot
I
of
would say they
nursery
kind of
rhymes
crossed the
out there.
line when they made fun of her infertility problems.
Yes, no, that's
Yeah.
uncool.
Yeah, it's
I
like
mean,
that-
I could see that leading to some very violent, like, and mental issues, and just it's a whole thing.
The whole
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
But as we discussed earlier, a rough
Yeah.
childhood is no
Yep.
excuse to murder people.
Yes.
Or difference in religious
absolutely.
beliefs. That's a whole other topic.
That's a whole other
Uh-huh.
topic.
All right. So this one is just because we actually have like 5 seconds left. So it's going to be quick. It's raining, it's pouring. The old man is snoring. He bumped his head on the bed and couldn't get up in the morning.
He's drunk. It's because he's drunk. He's
Yeah,
so drunk.
absolutely. I don't have any other guesses.
Okay.
It's raining whiskey.
Right? Okay. So, much like Rockabye Baby, which we did not cover today, but like look it up, it's fucked. This song actually is really dark when you think about it, because it is literally talking about someone getting physical head trauma and
Oh.
possibly dying. And wouldn't
Damn.
you know, it just has to, it doesn't have to have a deeper hidden meaning. It's just something fucking catchy and horrible to sing to children.
Bumped his head and couldn't get up in the morning. Like, what?
I thought
He
it for
died.
sure was because he had a huge hangover.
Right? He may have bumped his head due to the hangover, but yeah, he definitely has a headache now. All right, so the winner with 3.5 points. I'm so sorry, Abby. It's Kelsey.
I know.
But Abby has 1.5 points.
And Abby has
I-
an imaginary point.
I would have
Her
had
initial
more
guess and
if
was
I hadn't
wings.
switched my guess.
All right. So that concludes our epic crossover with Fairy Tale Fix. You guys, please tell us where we can find your shows, your socials. We will have it all listed in the show notes. But let us know where we can find you at.
You can find us at Fairy Tale Fix Pod pretty much on whatever platform you're using. And you can also go to fairytalefixpod.com. That's our website.
And
Is it
isn't
Fairy Tale
there
Fix
this
Pod, Kelsey?
Yeah, all of
You
our
mentioned
socials
you-
are in our Fairy Tale Fix Pod.
Right.
and you have this one thing like that we totally need to get on board with called Patreon. You want to plug that?
Oh, yes, please. If you have dollars and you would like to give them to us, we would not say no. We would really appreciate that. You can go to fairytalefix.cash to sign up for bonus episodes, merch, some behind the scenes content, and other cool stuff.
Yes,
Great.
and I'm
Yeah, thank
telling you right now,
so much for
money,
having us
please.
on.
this
was so much
this
fun.
was so
Yes,
fun.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for coming on.
Yeah, this
Just-
was an absolute blast. You two are so
just
much
like-
fun.
Just like the best time. And as always, listeners, you can find us at GABB Podcast on all socials. Email us. We want to hear from you. We tell you all the time.
Especially your fucked up childhood stories from family members, like we said earlier.
Yes, all the stories. GABBpodcast@gmail.com. And remember, we have a new merch shop. What? It moved from Redbubble because, well, it was too expensive for shipping. Sorry, Redbubble. But it's all in our link tree, all in the show notes. And as always, stay spooky, listeners. Bye.
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 Thank you for listening to Ghosts in the Attic, Bodies in the Basement, a Fearscape Media podcast. Music by Stephen Timperley. Artwork by Laura Ramsey. Find us online at fearscapemedia.com/GABB podcast, or on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at GABB podcast, or email us gabbpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you.